Kings, queens, and in-betweens, welcome back to the City Boys podcast. My name is E. Santo, and I am joined by two of my best friends in the game, and I could not be more excited because we are here to be talking about St. Louis City's victory over the Music City Nashville SC squad, 3-1, an upset victory by all accounts, and we are here to break it down for you. We're going to break down the game, get into Kick Clash, give you our points, and preview our upcoming opponent, Chicago Fire. But before we get into that, let me introduce our co-host. I'm gonna get started with Gray Hat. Grayson, how are you doing tonight, boss?
Dude, I'm buzzing, dude. What a weekend. I actually got to go to this match and see a City dub in person. It's been so long, but earning 3 points over the third place team in the East is a big statement win, and it's something to inject a little energy into the City Boys, if you couldn't tell.
Jacob, how are you doing tonight, Mr. Toasted Ravioli Poacher?
I'm doing fantastic. I want to be the first to say it because we've been getting clowned about it in the DMs. It was absolutely belt to ass on Nashville. You can't even argue it any different. There was controversy, there was goals, there was exciting plays, the young kids, all of it, but still came down to just good old-fashioned belt to ass. And I can't wait to cover it with you boys tonight.
Oh
Let's
my God,
go.
was
Let's
Energizer Park
go.
rocking or what? I feel like I haven't heard crowd pops like that from St. Louis City in so long. I think after Roman Berkey saved that penalty initially, that's the loudest I've heard City Park in forever. The crowd was absolutely electric. I expect nothing less from the City faithful, but still just great vibes in City Park for what feels like the first time in a while.
Yeah, I was sitting opposite the supporters section this time, a lot further than my usual seats, but I could still hear it loud and clear. Honestly, it was really cool to hear it from so far away because it really sounds like just a big soccer stadium crowd. Um, it made me really proud, honestly. So I was very, very happy about that game. I was sitting on the opposite end from two of the goals out of three, but I did get to see the last one, which is pretty sick, and we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Don't worry.
I think the stadium was about one finish away from recording like a level 8 earthquake in downtown St. Louis. We were a Mackay Joyner tucked finish away from
Oh,
the
that would have been
top
electric.
absolutely being popped off of the crowd. But
It's true.
we're
It's
just
true.
gonna have to wait. Mackay's gonna have to wait just a little bit longer to get that coveted MLS debut goal.
I think the moment will come when it is time. When we need a Mackay Joyner finish the most, it will be there waiting to send City Park into a frenzy, gentlemen. I can't wait anymore. Let's talk about this game. Who went out for St. Louis City, Jacob?
Who went out? So we had a couple people missing. Chris Durkin, obviously serving that red card suspension from 2 weeks ago, and Conrad Vollum on yellow card accumulation. So they didn't even make the team sheet because they couldn't by rules. But that did not stop us from putting out a pretty strong lineup, one of our strongest in a while, as we've got people returning from health. Also, a debut from our newest center back signing. But let me start with the most trusted hands in the league, Roman Berkey between the sticks. Goal scorer on the night, Jaziel Orozco out there at
What?
right back.
Yes, sir.
A great center back pairing in Timo Baumgartel and new kid on the block, Falu Fall, as well as Loney kind of playing himself into potentially a contract in the future. Devin Padelford out there on the left side. We had Alfredo Moraslis in the center of the park, which he almost convinced me that he played a good game right up until he conceded the penalty, which is pretty high remarks for
It's close.
me.
It's
If
close.
you've been
Yeah,
following along this
especially for that
season,
man.
We'll
you
take that.
know I don't like Alfredo Morales in a City kid.
That's a strong compliment right there.
A full 90 out of Edu Lowen in this
Come
match.
on,
A
boys.
full 90. He was absolutely cooked going into
Oh yeah.
stoppage time. He could not sprint to save his life, but that didn't stop him from completing the match. Another goal scorer on the night, Sang Bin Jong out there at the right mid, right attacking mid, right winger-ish position. It was pretty free flowing. A surprise for me was Tomas Alstrock in the 10 with Marcel Hartl out on the left side. We're going to get into that a little bit later as well. And then the final goal scored on the night, but not the final goal scored on the night. The man, the myth, Santa Claus up top.
A
It's that boy.
horrible night for the Klaus haters,
It's that
boys.
boy.
Come on.
Yes, sir.
Um, we had a we utilized all five of our substitutions. So JGR had come on. It looked like he was playing almost like a third center back. He was tucked a little bit deeper at times than regular CDM, as well as going up the field a little bit. I couldn't really tell you where he was. It almost looked like stopper-esque sort of tactical
Pretty,
role.
It's
yeah.
like a really
It's a
deep six. Yeah.
it's a really good way
Um,
to describe it, Jacob.
Simon Betcher had come on, Celio Pompeu came on, Akil Watts did come in at the center of the park, and Makai Joyner had come on. He did pick up a yellow card in this match for kicking the ball away, which I get some of the cards for kicking the ball away. This one was pretty weak in my opinion, but
I'd have to agree.
whatever.
I'd have to agree. Overall, I really like this starting lineup. Definitely one of the strongest. Our midfield was just light years different than what we've been seeing in the past couple weeks. And that's definitely due to Leuven being back, as well as having Ostrick in the midfield, as well as Morales. So we have a lot of bodies in the midfield. We really crowded it down. That's really stopped Nashville from holding possession for a lot of the beginning of the match, which is really saying something when you have a player like Gaston Brugman in your midfield that can really just suck the life out of you with his passing. So very glad that our midfield really stood up this match, and we're all over the place getting recoveries and winning the ball back. So definitely positive there.
Grayson, that's a great spot. I was interested to see Thomas Ostrack's role in that 10 position. And frankly, I think that might be his best position in a St. Louis City uniform. I know that he has performed decently in the 6 role previously, but I don't think he's our greatest defender. I think that he does have good defensive moments from time to time, but I think if I had to pick between Ostrak or Chris Durkin, not serving a red card suspension, I think I would pick Chris Durkin in that role. I loved seeing Thomas Ostrak in the 10. I think that he and Edu Lovin have a great balance between the two of them, and it unlocked Marcel Hartl in a different position. Granted, it did come at the expense of a Celio Pompeu start, but I think it's good to see Marcel Hartl unleashed in different ways, especially depending on the opponent. This is a very good sign, seeing St. Louis City be able to demonstrate some flexibility and get a win. I was really impressed, like you said, Grayson, at the way that our midfield was able to control the game, especially in the first half. I thought on the first 30, 35 minutes or so, we were on the front foot, controlling the game most of the time. And I also want to give some of that credit to Mr. Falou Fall and Timo Baumgartel. For once this season, it felt like we had center backs more than competent and confident enough to possess the ball, try and break those lines. And really, it was refreshing to watch. I loved it.
Yeah, the center back play in this match was top tier as far as this season has gone. I mean, two of the best attackers. Ethan, you had talked about it in the preview in the last episode for this match about Sam Suric and Hani Mukhtar, as well as the rest of the Nashville attack being one of the best in the East, if not one of the best in the MLS. And Fall and Timo were up for the challenge. I mean, Fall absolutely had Hani Mukhtar in his back pocket.
Yep.
The
Yep.
most
And it
notable
was
thing Sam Surridge did that match was pick up the ball out of his own net after the first goal. So
I was going to say get subbed off.
that too.
Ooh, taking shots at a potential Golden Boot winner. That's the kind of performance that our center backs had, though. I mean, Hani Mukhtar is only 2 seasons removed from an MVP caliber season. And what does Falou Fall do in the first half of the game but crunch him in the box legally? It was fantastic to watch. Great confidence building match for a back line that this season started off really strong under Olaf Milberg, then struggled to find its footing, has dealt with injuries and a lot of change. And now the back four seems to be very solid in front of Roman Berkey, gentlemen. I think without a penalty kick in this game, St. Louis City earns a clean sheet against Nashville, which, like you said, Jacob, is one of the best attacks in the MLS in my book.
I think a lot of people are going to point to the follow fall crunch as, and don't get me wrong, it is a highlight of this match, but I think his highest highlight was the double slide tackle ball possession to pop up, hit an Iniesta Magisto, and then pass the ball to a City player. All in the span of like 10 seconds. It really pays when your legs are stupid long, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I know he went 3 for 3 on tackles. I think he had nine uh defensive actions, a bunch of handful recoveries here, like really statistically and eye test passed with flying colors. Falu Fall will probably not be leaving the starting lineup for a minute.
Especially
While
if
we're
you can
talking,
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, while we're talking about the back line, I gotta show love to our young guys on the outside back roles. Yaziel Orozco playing out of position at right back, and Devin Paddleford at left back. The lone E playing like he is playing for a contract. If you ask me, Paddleford has looked excellent since arriving at St. Louis City. I'm gonna break down in some more detail the Falou Fall stats and our back line for my point, but really, really great stuff from this lineup. We had called Critchley into question at some moments for his lineup choices. And I think after this match, he knows his best 11. And with new signings, is starting to get, and we're starting to get healthy again. So I'm really excited for what St. Louis City can produce going forward.
Yeah, I mean, Kessler's now off injury, so I mean, huge question marks at who do you start at center back now that everybody's healthy? Who's
We
your
went
pair going
from
forward?
we went from an injury crisis to a healthy competition for the center back 1 and 2 role, and it could not be in a better position. Before we move on into the game, I do want to mention on the note of Henry Kessler, he actually did play for St. Louis City 2 against Rapids 2 on Sunday night. That would have been, and we won in penalty kicks in that match. A bunch of St. Louis City first
Interesting.
teamers actually featured
Yeah,
in that game. Jay Reed, Chris Durkin, Conrad Vollum, and Joey Zielinski all started that game. So
interesting.
they are getting their rotation and getting some clock.
I've heard Zelensky's name come up a bit recently. Um, when people are critiquing the recent transfer window, since we do have a couple of brand new defenders really holding down that back line right after we just bought Zelensky at the beginning of the season, and he hasn't seen too many minutes aside from the very beginning of the season. So I think Zelensky is one that we could, you know, see very sparsely for the rest of the season, especially with the how in form our two wingbacks are on both sides of the field. I mean, it takes a lot to replace Thomas Totland, and right now these young guys are really putting in a question mark on who's going to start in these outside back positions.
Yeah, I love Joey Zielinski as a depth piece, especially while Yaziel Orozco is playing in such great shape. And yeah, dispossessing Thomas Totland of his starting role says a lot about the belief in Orozco and Paddleford. So I think that St. Louis City is also in a good position for our depth at outside back.
Did you guys get to watch the post-match presser?
I
Mm-hmm.
did not.
Okay. In addition to Orozco's play on the field, I absolutely love the kid's personality. He's got the second best smile on the team, is the way I could put it. Caselio still holds that one. He paid
He's the
good
GOAT.
money for
Hard
those
to
teeth.
beat. Yeah.
So, he gets to be number one smile on the team. But Orozco just elated going into that press conference, answered every single question with confidence and happiness. And also he got toasted raviolis at the end of the match. Shout out to Santos.
Pretty
Yeah,
sick.
what a way
Pretty
to
sick.
endear yourself to the fans, man. He has really embraced the love that Santos have given him, and I believe that all of the St. Louis City community. I don't know anyone who doesn't like Yaziel Orozco, and
There's
it's
some
inspiring.
haters. There are a few haters out there, unfortunately. Every time I see a
And they were
comment
wrong.
knocking him, I'm like, you don't know ball. Shut up.
You don't know ball. Speaking of Yaziel Orozco, let's talk about this match because it would be the man himself that would open the scoring for St. Louis City in the 28th minute of the match, I'm pretty sure. It was pretty early on. St. Louis was really intense from the start out the gate, creating chances, looking really confident. And the first goal would come from a corner kick from Edu Leuven. It bounces in, and Devin Padelford actually does a fantastic job to see Orozco crashing the net completely free. And he actually lays the header off to him. So Padelford earns an assist for this goal. Orozco takes it off the chest, continues forward, breaks past the back line, has a crazy angle to get this shot off. I'm not sure if he's going for goal or going for the cross. Either way, you just got to smash it in there, and it's the perfect angle, beating Willis at the near post, off the bar a little bit. It's just, it can't be a more perfect shot. It's absolutely perfect here, making it 1-0. A little knee slide, Selly. I'm very proud of the boy. He deserves it for absolutely just insane start to his St. Louis City career. Just deserves it.
Based on his response in the post-match presser, Grayson, I'm gonna say that that was an intentional shot and that he
Yeah.
was looking for that angle. He said that in training, their goal on a set piece and his role specifically is to finish the play, whether that be with a cross, a shot, an effort. So I think what he was expecting was maybe a save at the near post, but I think that he's maybe caught Joe Willis cheating at his near post and just gave it a smack. Love to see the confidence and that effort from our right back. That was outside back to outside back on that goal. Shout out to fullback union,
Yep.
baby.
Fullback Union.
I don't want to take anything away from this goal, and I'm really hoping that my comment is not received as taking anything away from this goal. But
What?
because we are a bottom tier team right now in the MLS, we're getting the not greatest commentators for the matches. And I unfortunately did not switch over to the home broadcast to listen to Joey Zanaboni. I was listening to the Apple broadcast, and they kept saying that Joe Willis went to high school just down the road from the stadium. He went to Chaminade, which is not just down the road at all. It's like a 30, 25 minute, 30-minute drive away from the stadium
It's
with
right next door.
zero traffic. Chaminade is Creve Core, folks. It's in a whole different tax bracket. It is not down the road. But that's all I got to say on that.
I say respect to the amount of athletes that come out of that high school is actually crazy.
Yeah. Shout out Jay Tatum.
I think Bradley Beal went there too.
Yeah,
Did he?
cool.
Pretty
Sure
sure.
did. Yeah.
Wild.
It's nuts. It's nuts. St. Louis is a crazy place. Who's next?
One of the city boys.
I'll do it. Fine. I'll go to Chaminade and then I'll
Already has a high school diploma, goes and gets
I just
another one.
I need some credits. I need some
The
credits.
second ring.
Uh,
All
Ethan,
right. Well, yeah, let's talk about Mr. Santa Claus bringing City Park another gift. This time, not long after the Orozco goal to open the scoring, Santa Edu Lovin has the ball on the top of the box. Zhao Klaus makes, in my opinion, a decoy run. I don't know if Zhao Klaus was expecting to get the ball after he overlaps Edu Lovin, but he times his run perfectly. Edu slots in a perfectly weighted pass, and Zhao Klaus also finds success at the near post. I was so impressed by this finish in off the near post. A player that just picks his spot and finishes. Love to see that from Zhao Klaus in the 39th minute. He bags his eighth goal of the MLS season. At this point, we were flying. I mean, we're 2-0 going into halftime against the third best team in the East. Our mentality in the first half, especially after we scored that first goal, looked like let's go get another one, and we did. The game was not quite over though. Thankfully, Klaus scored this second goal.
Dude, I gotta say, for me, seeing a Leuven assist to a Klaus goal, nothing makes a true City fan happier. Like that's St. Louis City from the start. That's how it was meant to be. Ida Leuven assisting Joao Klaus. That's just that's City football right there.
uh, if anybody was watching me, you could have seen me shed a tear or a few after watching this goal. That's how much it meant to me as a, like you said, Grayson, a true St. Louis City fan. Um, this brings up a question I asked Grayson. So for those of you who don't know, Grayson and I now live together. What's up, buddy?
I heard you
Um,
yelling.
I asked Grayson because Klaus is on a basically on a contract here, and we've talked a lot about his goal output over the last two seasons because up until halfway through this year, it was not a lot. But now he's sitting on 8. If he
Nine
gets
now
9,
in all comps.
so 8 in the MLS, if he gets
Yeah.
to 15 MLS goals by the end of the season, is that worthy of a contract? Or are we still looking for a new DP striker, maybe Klaus on a TAM contract, or maybe no Klaus at all?
I real quick, I know I answered this in person, but ideally would love to be able to offer him a different style of contract. But, if he puts up 15, 16 goals, he definitely has some room to bargain with. In terms of if he wants to stay, if we aren't going to offer him a better contract, even though he has played technically the best season he has in City Red. Um, but it's an interesting one because I think St. Louis does need to grow and bring in a striker with a different dimension. At times, our offense has looked stale at the beginning of the season specifically, but now seeing how Klaus has really come to life, um, he definitely deserves another look.
We have been Klaus truthers on this podcast from the start, and I'm not going to change my tone after Klaus is putting up numbers. We believed in Klaus since he was failing to score for 8 months, and I definitely believe in him to keep scoring for the rest of the season. I do like that idea, Grayson, of buying him down to a TAM contract and potentially signing another DP goal scorer on the level of Marcel Hartel, someone who has an expected output of 15 goals. I think that would make a huge difference in our team. But yeah, I would like to see João Klaus re-signed. I think that his output, especially since David Critchley has arrived in the manager position, has been unbelievable. And he looks like a player renewed. I would like to continue celebrating João Klaus goals. I believe that he adds to the team chemistry in the side. He's a player that, despite being polarizing for fans, I think many more love him. So I want to see him continue to score goals in City Red.
With
My
this, I'm sorry, with this recent goal, he does match his goal tally from his first season in all comps. So he's at 10 and 10.
okay. My look on it is this. We're never going to run a two striker system. Like when we've had our most success, it's been with a single striker on the field. And if we're going to keep going with a single striker system, I think it's either Klaus or it's no Klaus at all. And as a Klaus truther, I would like to see it remain João Klaus. I think especially if it's Critch or a manager next season that isn't named David Critchley comes in to take the helm, one of their biggest tasks is going to have to be to keep the confidence in Klaus rolling if he's going to be here next season. Because we saw with Olaf, there wasn't a lot of Klaus didn't play his best ball under Olaf, and that's due to a lot of factors, not just Klaus related factors. He did get the goal under Hackworth, but he had started to fall off before um, Carnell had gotten sacked. So I think really important thing to look at from the club if they're going to keep Klaus next season on another DP contract is what the manager is going to do to continue to bring the best out of Klaus. And if they're not going to go with Klaus, then it needs to be a certified 15 goal a season minimum type of striker.
Yeah, completely agree.
I don't think you can have both, though. I don't think you can have both Klaus and another DP striker on the team.
I think you're probably right
I
about
need to
that.
look at the financials. I can work something out.
I don't want Klaus coming off the bench. I actually don't even like when Klaus subs off.
Same. I want him going for 90.
Yeah,
It's
which is
it's
a
so
lot to
annoying.
ask, arguably our hardest pressing player on the team.
Dude, for such a big man, he runs so much.
like we're not getting the mileage tracker on Apple Broadcast like were last season, but I think Klaus might be up there with some of the most miles in the league.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Um, all right, let's jump into my guest goal scorer from our predictions last week. This one was super freaking sweet for multiple reasons. Number one, it is his first goal for City. It's his first goal in a while as he wasn't getting a lot of clock for Minnesota this season. It's dope because I called it, all these things, but Edu picks the ball up on the counter, plays Simon Betcher in. Simon Betcher goes for the shot. It gets saved. But in really un-Simon Betcher-like fashion, he's able to hold himself up just long enough to do like a pretty hard, like lofted cross back across the face of
Hey, like,
goal.
oh,
He
I think it
he
kind
was
damn
of
I
near.
think it was a shot. I think it
he
was a
kind of
shot, but it was
pinned it. He
a
kind of
little
put some
pinch,
sauce on
He
that
like,
ball.
yeah, Otso bounced it.
a little Ozil
And
bounce.
all Sangbin had to do was just stick his head in the way and flick it on the net. Goes into the back. His celebration, for those of you who don't know at this point, he was told by the media staff what he should do for his celebration, so he busted out the little
Sniper.
bear for media. The pictures are pretty fire, but this one was really cool. I think he's got um, a few more goals left in him the rest of the season. He does look like our starting right midfielder going forward, which is, something we've had a huge question mark on this season with Cedric Toyshirt's lack of form, Simon Betcher not really being a winger,
Not existing.
Alm being
Andre
injured.
Silva barely playing.
Yeah. So it's honestly, it's all looking up right now, which it hasn't in a really long time in this city.
For me, what most excites me about Song Bin is his engine. That man can run. There was one play specifically that was on the opposite side of the field where he just overtook Nashville's left back. I think he's probably like 20 feet behind him and ended up 20 feet ahead of him in less than
And
2 seconds. Like it was absurd how he blew past that man. I believe he ended up putting in a cross. Um, I was on the other side of the field, so I didn't get to see how good of a cross it was. I just know it didn't obviously end in a goal, but um, there was a lot of plays like that where just his confidence to take on players 1v1 and not necessarily hit him with tricks or anything, but just simple, weight changes and just changes of pace. That's all you need sometimes, and he's definitely elite at that.
yeah, he has a dirty shoulder feint and looks frantic to get a goal, doesn't he? He mentioned in the post-match press conference that he trained with, quote, desperation to score this week. He felt like he needed to and prepared really well. So great to see a player rewarded after that kind of preparation and effort as well. Just looks like a player who has the identity of St. Louis City already. It doesn't look like he needed any time or really training to get acclimated. It looks like he is ready to go and play for the badge. Looks like he has that chip on his shoulder after maybe being benched and not in favor with the coach. So I think that is St. Louis City's bread and butter. I think both of our signings from Minnesota from this transfer window have that kind of attitude, and it's been great to watch. I think that Song Bin has contributed, I mean, plenty already. So I'm excited to see what he can do to more outside backs. I think the potential combo of Song Bin and Celio on the wings is, and Marcel Hartl and Edu Lovin feeding them the ball is disgusting. That is a prospect that would make João Klaus salivate.
My last two things from this match, and they're not even from this match. It's actually from the post-match presser. It is really, really cool to see multilingual players in this roster and on this team, and then going into a post-match presser and answering questions in both their language as well as English. And I think in like a non-soccer related way, it's really cool to see that as it really does represent the melting pot that is St. Louis and all the different types of cultures that we have here being represented on the field in a professional manner like that. So, yeah.
Well said.
That's yeah, yeah. I echo that point, Jacob.
Well, we have one big event to talk about that happens in this match. I guess two, because I want to mention something else too.
I guess,
Um,
and technically it's like a double moment, right?
it is a
There's
Yeah.
double moment, technically, yes. So late in the match, Nashville is pressing, trying to get something out of this match, and finally, Hani Mukhtar does something, and that is fall over. Uh, because yeah, I guess we did foul him a little bit. Morales fouled him in the box, setting up Hani for a pen, and Roman Berkey would save this pen, finally getting his save. But of course, yeah, classic St. Louis faction. Call it back. Give Hani Mukhtar another try. Might as well. And he decides to bury this one. Um, a lot of controversy regarding the run up, Hani Mukhtar's run up, and people's thoughts on stutter penalties, stutter step pens, and that sort of thing. And also, uh, they crashed the box way too early. There was about three or four Nashville players in the box when Hani Mukhtar took the shot. Anyways, I don't know, what the ruling is on that, if that cancels it out, if they had noticed that, or I don't really know. It really did take, the life out of me for a second. We were in the group chat talking about how, you know, it really did leave a bad taste in my mouth and almost ruin how happy I was. But now, looking back at it, I don't care. 3-1 Nashville, whatever. Hani Mukhtar, you can have your little consolation goal, buddy. Good job. You need two tries. Give you a third try, dude. Whatever.
no, dude. I This goal is despicable for many reasons, including the run up. But for me, the main reason is because it ruins Roman Berkey's clean sheet. Our defense and Roman have certainly earned a clean sheet in matches previous and haven't gotten it. And tonight, or against Nashville, I think they did. And like you said, Grayson, for all those reasons, not just Hani Mukhtar appearing to fully stop his momentum, but the players being in the box as well, just really makes you question the rule and what they were looking at. And it's just so disappointing for Roman Berkey, especially given that his biggest and, in my opinion, only criticism that you can make about Roman Berkey is his penalty stopping ability. Of course, more penalties have been scored on him than saved, so he finally gets a chance to shut up the haters, and it's called back by some nonsense.
Yeah.
Penalties are already set up to have the shooter have all of the advantage in the world. I mean, it's 1v1. You are 12 yards out from the goal. And the goalie can't come across the line until you've kicked the ball. Like, you get to stutter, you can play all these tricks, and the goalie can't really do anything. It's less of a reaction game than it is a guessing game. And to pull this one back with all the things that Grayson stated, with all of the Nashville players across their line, Hani Mukhtar definitely having a stop in there. I don't care what anybody argues. If you go frame by frame, there's 3 frames back to back where he is in the exact same position. That means that boy freaking stopped.
Mm.
He stopped his run up, he stopped his momentum, and then he keeps going. And you want to know why all those dudes were in the box? Is because he had stopped his momentum. All the practice PKs that they've taken in training, there's a beat to it, there's a rhythm, and they all went early because Hani Mukhtar stopped his run up. So it shouldn't have been retaken. We should have had a clean sheet. Again, belt to ass. Fuck Nashville. We won 3-1. Lick my balls. Fuck you, Hani Mukhtar. Bitch.
Well said.
So,
I liked Hani Mukhtar before this match. I will say, and now I am I'm flop sides. I'm anti Hani Mukhtar gang. I'm not a fan. Uh as soon as he put his shoulder into Falu fall, after Falu sat him
Yeah,
down
that
on the
was fucked
ground,
up.
all right, man. There it goes. There goes the respect. But let's go ahead and get into our points from this match day. I'll go ahead and kick it off. Mine's, pretty short and sweet. There's not much to gripe about when your team plays this well. A 3-1 against a really top opponent uh, can hopefully give us a lot of confidence moving forward, especially we do have a lot of good opponents coming up. So we're going to look at that in a little bit too. But it feels like we have this really scrappy team that really wants to fight and earn results. It's really reminiscent of our very first season for me. This win really brought me back. And so now that we have almost everyone healthy, Critchley's job gets easier, but also much harder because he has to find a way to fit all of our best players, only 11 of them, into the puzzle that is the St. Louis City starting 11. And this week, Critchley elected to play Hartle out on the left, and that drops Celio to the bench and throws Thomas Ostrick to the 10 position. So although this did end up with a fantastic showing from our midfield, um, just clogging up all the spaces, Nashville really wasn't able to cut through us like many teams have at the beginning of this season. I couldn't help but feel as if we sacrificed Hartle's ability uh, sticking out wide and then tucking in later in the game. And it did allow Paddleford to really control the left side of the field. But it to me, it didn't feel like it it didn't feel like it left the left side of the pitch exposed, but just left me feeling that Hartle was a little bit underutilized. He really had one major point in this match for me, which was his fantastic shot that Willis was able to pick out of the top corner. But other than that, I can't really give you any meaningful moments for Hartle in this match. And I feel like that's because he's not in his best when he's on the touch line. Um, so we have seen Hartle be very successful on that left side uh, last season, and I mean it looked successful for the team today. Although we sacrificed Hartle's individual brilliance, we did put out a really solid team performance. So for you guys, would you guys like to see Hartle on the left side again and keep playing with this Ostrich midfield because it has worked out pretty
Mm.
well? Or would you rather, like we mentioned, have a much more dynamic attack, having Celio on the left and Sung Bin on the right, Hartle in the 10, create pulling some strings? Um, I will say a little bit of positive for what Critchley's 11, other than this 3-1 win. It's very fluid, allowing Ostrich and Hartel to rotate oftentimes. But to me, it did leave that left wing empty with Pedalford really alone a lot of the time. So yeah, what do you guys think about this week's tactics?
Well, I've always been a big fan of flexibility and versatility for St. Louis City. We have been somewhat of a team built of utility men for since our inception, in my opinion. We've had many different players playing in different roles. And I like that Marshall Hartle is quality enough to play anywhere across the attacking line, if you ask me. I think that he could complement Klaus well as a striker. I don't Okay, maybe not because I don't think Klaus is well in a two striker system. But I think if Klaus was hurt and Hartle needed to play a nine, he could. So personally, I did really like seeing Marcel Hartel on that left side and seeing the different outlook that it gave us, especially given our opponent. I think that our midfield was able to just outwork and outplay Nashville's midfield. So I'm curious, maybe against Chicago, Hartel's back in the center of the park and we employ a different strategy, different tactics, and have Sangbin and Celio on the wings. But I like that it offers a different look for St. Louis City. Although I will say, I do believe Marcel Hartel is probably deployed best in the 10 position.
Um, I think Ostrak challenges for the other holding midfielder role against Durkin a lot better than he does at playing the 10 role for this team. He's definitely not a center defensive mid by any means. There is a lot more class, for lack of a better term, in his defensive actions than your typical center defensive mid, like kind of brute, bigger body. The way Ostrak plays holding slash CDM is just intercepting passes and dribbling his way out of it, as opposed to being a bruiser type. So I said this in our group chat. I was surprised Ostrak wasn't deployed next to Edu in this matchup, sort of off of the back of me being a Morales hater as well, is why I said that. And Morales didn't have a bad game by any means. I think he kind of was a little bit pivotal in us having a good
Whoa.
defensive performance.
Whoa.
Do you have a
But
fever, dude?
with the likes, I'm just gonna keep rolling, boys. With the likes of Falu Fall and Timo, I think we can sacrifice a little bit of brutality from a center midfielder that offers us the flexibility to play Ostrak next to Edu, and then we slot Hartle back in his natural 10 position, getting Celio arguably our most dynamic player also on the field. So that's what I would like to see against Chicago. Regardless of what Chicago comes out in, I I am all for changing tactics based on opponent, and also at some point you just got to let your nuts hang and play your game as well.
Completely agree on that front, Jacob. It's just that this season, St. Louis City's nuts are not hanging
It's been cold
very low,
outside.
are they? Yeah, it's just been a cold season so far, so they got to stay warm right now.
And maybe I'm high off of a W. We've only had five this year, so let me live. But maybe we let our nuts hang against Chicago. They're not really having a great run of form right now.
It would be nice to walk into what we consider to be a rival team and,
Do
go in there
something.
with some confidence. Yeah, really talk our shit. They just tied LAFC. We'll preview Chicago after we discuss some other matters though.
After.
Gray, are
But
you all
That
wrapped up on your
that
point?
is the rest of my point. Just a little covering on Critchley's tactics.
Okay, so I'll get into my point because Ethan's point is big deal. Ethan's point's big deal. My point's less big deal. It's more future looking, which seems to just be me this season. Anyways, we have 9 matches left. We're not
Wild.
mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, which it would be so lovely next season to never have that sentence come out of my mouth again. And we're just constantly fighting for top spot, but that's not the position we see ourselves in right now. So let's see the standings. We are 11 points out of ninth place. So that means what we basically need 4 wins and everybody else in a playoff spot to lose.
That's the easy way. But we have
And
9 games.
we have 9 games. So we have to find, I want to say we need to find a safe 6 or 7 wins out of the next nine in order to
Yeah.
really be confident in securing the ninth place position and then in a play-in game. So we're at Chicago next week. W or L is all I'm looking for. I'm gonna ask you, Ethan.
coming off the back of a better team in the Eastern Conference victory and looking good, I'm gonna say W.
All right. Then we have Vancouver, Grayson.
Vancouver right now is actually going through a bit of a rough patch, but I'm gonna give us an L.
I
They
was
did
thinking
add
that
Thomas
too.
Muller
Yeah.
in the middle of this rough patch.
So then Houston Dynamo, Jacob. I'm gonna say W. I think we should have and can beat the Dynamo.
It's a winnable game.
So we're at
I think I told you this, Jacob. It's the winnable games are the ones that are scaring me for the rest of the season.
yeah.
Because Nashville, I didn't expect a dub out of this, and I'm very happily surprised. I will be expecting a good game against Houston. So those are the games
Expecting a
that I'm worried
W.
about.
Mm.
Expecting a W. So I'm gonna say W. So we're 2-1 going into our last nine. Ethan, FC Dallas.
Okay, could be at home or away.
Let me click on it.
Very
I believe
important.
we played Dallas
at
away
home, at
already.
home.
So at Energizer Park, I'm gonna go for a W.
I'd back that
Okay.
up.
So we have three W's. Our
This is a very
benchmark
optimistic
is
podcast.
7. Montreal, Grayson.
That's a
Oh,
dub. Easy.
yeah.
That's the easiest dub we got. And okay, knock on wood. I feel like I shouldn't have said that
Yeah,
immediately.
don't fuck around. You just got a bad feeling after saying that.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
All right, and
We're
then
good.
we've
We're good.
already beaten this team this year, San Jose, but we're in San Jose. I'm gonna say W because I'm looking at our next opponent after that, and it would be nice to have what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 W's wrapped up, needing 7, needing 2 more wins out of our final 3. All right, Ethan, this one's gonna be a barn burner. LAFC.
A match that I'm planning on attending, by the way. I'm gonna say L here because they looked very good against Chicago, adding one of the most world class players maybe of
Sonny?
the last 10 years.
Sonny.
Oh my
Sonny
god.
Heung-min.
Sonny Heung-min makes his debut in the MLS this year.
Hey.
Impossibly hard to listen to the commentary on Sunny. So I'm gonna go for an L against LAFC.
All right, all right, all right. So
Fair.
we
Fair.
then have to win against Austin, Grayson.
It's doable, but Austin has been pretty decent this year. Pretty
So
solid. Pretty solid.
are we looking at make or break game if all goes the way we think it's going to go? I mean, we could very well lose to Chicago this weekend, and that is the end of
That's
our
the
season.
wrap. Yeah, that's the wrap.
So W Austin, and then decision day, October 18th, Real Salt Lake, Jacob. We've lost RSL this year. It seems like RSL is just mid enough that they give us problems.
Yeah.
I got the feeling that RSL will also be fighting for that wild card spot on decision day.
They're
So
sitting 1 point out of playoffs right now in 10th place.
I wouldn't say they're good, but
I'm they're mid enough that it's a problem.
they did just sign a new DP as well.
9 games for him to get adapted is a very fair amount of time as well.
Yeah.
yeah, our new DP signings look good at around that time last season as well.
Interesting
I
end of the season run.
am gonna say W just because I think with everything that's happened this season, right? And literally our season on the line, given all this fucking dreamland that we've been playing in for my point. I think the boys, I think they show up. This one's at home as well. We're not really taking into account the fact that we only have 1 away win on this season for any of these matches either. But I think in front of the home crowd, it's decision day. Say we have to win this match. I think the boys figure out a way to do that just because of the trials and tribulations of the season this far and having the 12th man as the city supporters behind them. I think we end up getting the dub in that match. Also, all of this could go out the window next week, and we're really just talking about next season.
I mean, you got me feeling inspired.
That
I'm
also
feeling
takes
like it's
us
possible.
7 more W's, 2 more L's, puts us at what's that, 12, 6, and 16 as our record at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to imagine getting as many wins as we have all season in our last 9 games.
+2.
So I don't know about it,
possible.
but I'm feeling optimistic after beating such a good team in Nashville.
If we're gonna get it done, that's the way we're gonna do it.
It would
But
also be storybook St. Louis. I mean, this would not be the first St. Louis franchise to be damn near dead last and then make a playoff run.
Facts, and we wouldn't even be an outlier of an MLS team to do that. I mean, seeing
Right.
Sporting Kansas City's and Atlanta United's roads to the playoff last season were very unlikely, if not impossible, and they still somehow made it in. So I'm I'm not totally out. I've flip flop back and forth, but right now, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
I think what really benefits us in these next runs of games is we play Houston Dynamo, which is in 12th. So that's going to be a 6-point swing if we win. Vancouver is they're at the top of the table still yet. Oh, they're in second. So
They really are.
that's a loss. FC Dallas is in 11th place. That's another 6 point swing. LAFC is in fifth. That's a loss. RSL, like I had said, is in 10th. That's another 6 point swing. Austin in seventh. That's a 6 point swing. San Jose, which we think we can beat, they're in ninth. That's a 6 point swing. So that's I'm just saying, we kind of have it in our hands if we just want to grab it.
It's ours to take.
I like that outlook, boys. I like it a lot.
I'm just saying. It does kind of blow we play Chicago and Montreal in the East. So just winning has an effect on our playoff ability, but beating a team not in our conference doesn't really affect our standings that much.
Right.
Also, I'm not sure if I agree with you, Grayson, that Austin is a solid team. They just drew 2-2 over the weekend with Houston, a team that we just claimed to be able to beat. And they're missing
No,
one of their
solid.
marquee members in Brandon Vasquez this season. And in my opinion, their other couple of marquee signings have not stepped up and performed up to probably a 10 or $12 million signing. I think Ozuni was, and I have not heard anything out of him this season. So I don't know. I believe Austin could be a good opponent. Don't get me wrong. They have Brad Stuver in net, a
I
great
was
goalie,
just
but
gonna say, bro, our biggest obstacle against them is Brad Stuver loves a game against St. Louis.
Yeah.
him and that rat tail, man.
They beat us 1-0 earlier this season with a goal from Azuni, and we had much of the effort in the second half. This was, of course, an Olaf game.
Just saying, the folks could clip this and it could come back to be one of the greatest sound bites of this show's ever seen. Or I'm gonna have to eat my own words and be like, yeah, we were riding real high off of our fifth win of the year. Cut me some slack,
But
please.
hey, I will point out that this lineup that St. Louis City played against Austin is so much light years different than the lineup that we're playing now. In this starting lineup, we have Joachim Nilsson, Ben Lunt starting. We have a midfield of Valum, Durkin, Morales, Kyle Hebert on the right wing back, uh, Betcher and Hartel leading the offense, really. So,
That's
um,
Yeah, it doesn't sound as good as last night or the 11 against Nashville. I'll put it like that. All
this
right.
St. Louis City side could beat that St. Louis City side by 12.
Speaking of the 11 that went out against Nashville, boys, I am ready to hone in on my point for this week because for once we have a defensive performance to write home about, gentlemen. I could not be more happy about how St. Louis City's defense played despite conceding one goal and not getting a clean sheet. And in my opinion, a very big part of that performance is our new man, Falou Fall, on his debut. Grayson, you alluded to it earlier. The man had himself an excellent statistical night. 86% passing, 60 touches on the ball, a commanding presence on the game, if you ask me. 3 tackles, 4 recoveries, 4 duels won, and 4 clearances on the night. The man was involved. We'll put it like that. Falou Fall looked fantastic. He put Hani Mukhtar, a former MVP, in his back pocket and called it a night. Then he adjusted effortlessly into that back five in the second half just so we could shut things down. I was worried that Falou Fall might concede a penalty kick in this match because of his aggressive defending. Alfredo Morales is the culprit, however. I was just so impressed by our new man. He's 21 years old. The man looked like he had a decade of experience in the MLS. Not to mention, he is confident, boys. When he interviewed by St. Louis City, he said, "This is my league now." And that is the kind of confidence and bravery that I want to see from our new man. This is this. I saw Will Bratton, Mr. St. Louis City Views, say this, so I'm not going to steal it without credit, but he will certainly fetch us a double-digit million transfer fee at some point. I cannot wait to see what the future has in store for Falou Fall. I think he could bag some goals before this season ends, boys. I put him at 3 goals on the year. I think we're going to get some clean sheets, and he is a big reason why I am hopeful and optimistic about St. Louis City going into these last 9 games, fellas. I don't really think that Hugo Kuipers is going to be a problem for Falou Fall. I don't think that Prince Owusu, Montreal's best striker or winger, is going to be a problem for Falou Fall. He cancels out so many problems that St. Louis
Nimbawanga?
City's defense has had. Hey, it's going to be a
We'll
challenge, all
see.
right? That's a matchup I can't wait to see, though. I like Falou Fall versus Denny Bowanga better than Jake Nerwinski and Denny Bowanga, and we were
Sonny?
impressed by number 2.
Sonny? Hey,
Sonny?
do you guys want to hear real quick some Denny Bwanga slander?
Please.
He has 14 goals on the season.
He's
Seven of
slanderous
those.
about that.
7 of those are penalties.
Oh.
50% of your goals are pens, mister.
Two of
Klaus
those
has
are
more
against
goals
St.
than you.
Louis.
Klaus has more goals than Denny Bwanga.
Two of those goals are against St. Louis.
True. How many of those are pens? Don't answer
Zero.
that. Don't answer
None.
that. I'm just kidding.
How many of those are world-class fucking screamers?
Ooh.
I think both of them.
Anyways, I want to talk more about than just Falou Fall because I have, like I have alluded to, been really impressed with Devin Paddleford. He plays like he wants to play for St. Louis City, and frankly, I think we picked him up on a bargain. I think we let go a 3rd-round draft pick or just an MLS Super Draft pick. I'm fine with that. 2 of the 3 Super Draft picks from the last season have not seen time with the first team this season. And you know what else? I'm okay with that too. These are young guys that need to develop. Not everyone is a Falou Fall, a Makai Joyner, a Caden Glover, a Tyson Pierce. Oh, wait, I think it's Caden Glover. It's Caden Glover.
No, it's not.
I'm
I
No
think
way.
it came out. That's how you pronounce it.
Anyways,
I don't believe
I'm
it.
excited for this defense and what we have in store. I really like Yaziel Orozco at right back, even over Thomas Totland. And given that he's the hot hand, I think we stick with Orozco. Not to mention the way that the city has embraced him and the fans show him love. I think it's just the stars maybe seem to be aligning in the back line for St. Louis City, which is so refreshing to see after a year plus of center back and outside back woes. Not to mention, we talked about it earlier in the episode, Henry Kessler is on his way back to full health. I can't wait. I love St. Louis City's defense and how it looks with Falou Fall and Timo Baumgartel standing in the middle, guarding Roman Berkey's goal. That's my point for this week, boys. I cannot wait to see more of this St. Louis City defense. I think it will improve to be better than it was under Olaf Melberg.
And
Do
I
you
got
guys
it.
remember? Do you remember the? I think it was TikTok. It might have been something else. The edit from a few years ago where this like high school football player is being interviewed and he's talking about his teammates and he's like, blah, 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 dog, blah, 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 dog, blah, 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 dog. I would love to see a St. Louis City roster like remake of that going down the line because I think what most of our defenders have in common is just that dog mentality. Like, truly, Falou Fall showed up and let his nuts hang in his first MLS match. Orozco got driven back 35 yards by Teal Bunbury and
Yeah.
didn't even get phased, bro. He was out there
Didn't
slide
flinch.
tackling. Timo Baumgartel, quiet dog. Very quiet. I don't know if I'd want to ever piss Timo off because the cold shoulder would be ruthless out of Timo. And then Devin Padelford just running like he's pissed off at the grass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just angry at the grass, taking his opportunity by the reins and just making the most of it.
Starting a little scrap post match too with
Yeah.
I don't even know. Don't put your hands on me. Get
Yeah,
off.
dude. And I
Get
saw
off.
JGR step up too. JGR
Yeah.
steps up. He used to wrestle crocodiles. You think he's scared of some guy wearing fake denim? No, sir. No, sir.
What did
JGR
I
is about
say
that.
in our group chat about JGR? What did I call him?
I do you do you
Say
want
it,
to say
Brandon.
that?
I don't
Say it.
know.
No,
Say
I
it.
think you should say it.
What did I say? I have an idea, but I don't know.
I know exactly what you said, and I
Did it
can't.
rhyme with croc?
Yes.
You guys could put two and two together. I'm not gonna put it on the internet.
Anyways,
I will like to say real quick, backing up Ethan here, our back line is so good, super young. We have two defenders back there that are 21, and I have seen some talk about what if this Padelford deal is good. I've seen a lot of people just hate and saying, "Oh, we're developing a player for another team." Yo, there's still a way for us to purchase this player, even though his loan doesn't come with a clause to buy. We can still negotiate for this player, and having him in our city, playing well, learning to love this club is the best thing we can do right now. Is just keep supporting the player. He just got an assist tonight, played his ass off, so show him some love. Um, and if he does leave us, wish him the best. He's been a great player for us so far. And then once again, shouting out the amazing Roman Berkey, who is second in the MLS with saves per match, sitting on average of 3.9, only behind Zach Steffen, who has a 4.0. So a point one difference in keeping our boy off the top spot. Of course, that does factor in Ben Lunt, who did put in a shift servicing us near the beginning of the season. He also had a great match, but it is always a pleasure to have Roman Berkey back because he always saves us. Always saves us. So yeah, I'm very excited about this defense as well. We're locked down. Our defense is better than Chicago's by one goal. But
NOGOAL, no goal.
any final notes on this match before we get into our next segment?
I think I've said all I need to say. And then
Belt
some.
to ass. Belt to ass.
And belt to ass in another round of bing, 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 bing. It's time for Kick Clash, baby. And I have a feeling this one might also be belt to ass. We also have another round of retro kits against St. Louis City. Nashville came out rocking. An interesting one. Like Ethan just mentioned, some fake denim is the theme of this kit. They've got denim on the sleeves and on the shorts. Honestly, I had no idea from the stadium. It just looks blue, and I actually kind of liked them from afar. But now knowing they're denim, it fits Nashville, but it's also
It
ugly.
does.
I'm not a fan. Jeans in soccer. I actually, when I was in fraternity at Mizzou, my goalkeeper used to wear jeans to the matches, and he was cold. So I don't know. He was the jeans keeper. Shout out the boy,
The Jeeper.
the jeeper. But for me, I'm gonna give this kit. You know, denim on a soccer kit sounds egregious. The execution is a lot better than I expected. I'm gonna give it a 6.5 because I don't like it that much. I do really like the font. The font Nashville in the center really saves it a lot. Otherwise, I'd be giving this probably like a 5.
Jacob, you go.
I agree with you, Grayson. I think the font saves it. I think the badge looks kind of cool. The rest of it, though, bro, what are we doing, dog? I wear jeans a lot. I'm not trying to see him on the soccer field. What is this? Recess, bro? We're a professional soccer team. Let's get some
Man.
real shorts on, not this crap. Just because I'm having fun with it, I'm gonna give it a 3.1.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
That has to be the lowest of the year, right?
We might have given a 0, maybe. I don't know. I remember if Kansas City exists. So
Kansas
Facts.
City does exist, but only barely.
1.3 is definitely down there for worst kit. Worst
It's
kit
a
of the season.
3.1. I give him a
Oh yeah,
3.1.
3.1. My bad.
3.1.
All right. Well, since I'm feeling differently about it, boys, I'm just
I
going to
figured.
rip the band-aid and give you my rating and then explain myself. I'm going to go for an 8.5, boys.
God
This
damn.
kit fucks. Let's just keep it real. All right. Not only are we a high on white kit podcast, I am big
Not that
on
high.
creative kits.
And I have yet to see any other team try and implement a jean or denim pattern into a jersey for good reason. I think there is
True.
one team in the world that can pull this off, and it is Nashville SC, just
That's
because of
really
their
true.
location, their connection to country music, and being a music city. Jacob, I hadn't even considered it from your perspective, as you know you're a full-time jean wearer. So why would you want to rep that? But maybe the working class, it looks cool. It represents that. So I'm a little bit higher on this kit than the boys, and I'm okay with that. The font is fantastic. The crest is fantastic, and the navy blue jean color is, at least to me, one of one. And so for that reason, I really like it.
It's interesting to say the least.
All right, so Ethan is a part-time Atlanta United fan and
Oh
also a
no,
part-time Nashville fan.
Hey, shout
never.
out our boy Trevor.
Yeah, shout out to our biggest hater, Trevor. How was watching that game in City
In
Park,
person.
by the way.
Yeah.
Imagine getting ripped out the plastic and feeling brand new.
That's how it feels to be a St. Louis City fan right now.
His DMs between he and I are hilarious from my point of view.
They're pretty good. They're pretty
Uh,
good. Pretty
Once
good.
Ethan said that he was at the match, I started to send him all the highlights of the goals, and he was like, "Buddy, I was there. Okay, I've been getting harassed
I've
all
seen it.
night. I lost all my bets on this match."
Good. Well,
Um,
fellas, that is Nashville SC's kit. We got a fresh opponent coming this weekend, one that we have talked about at length before. If you are a Chicago fan or a Chicago podcast and you happen to be listening to this episode, we want beef. Hit us up. We want smoke. We will,
Italian beef.
whatever flavor, whatever kind, we want it. We want to start this rivalry off right. It can be friendly or unfriendly. I'll start unfriendly beef. I don't care
Yeah, why
anymore.
not? It could be
I
fun.
want a rivalry with the Chicago podcast, the Chicago Fire in general. I wish we were playing this game at Soldier Field, but after seeing LAFC versus Chicago back at SeatGeek, I think that the venue favors St. Louis City in this game.
Mm, I like to hear that. I am, a little optimistic. I think Chicago is a good side, but they are very streaky. If you look at their form, they kind of go in five games at a time. They'll win five in a row, they'll lose five in a row, they'll win five in a row, they'll lose five in a row. Right now, they're currently in a patch of draws. So I don't know where that puts us. They had two draws, a win, and then a draw. So for me, I think this leans more towards a St. Louis favorable um, result here in terms of their form. I feel like we could do some work here. I will say that Chicago has really transformed. So they are a much better side um,
That's true.
than they used to
That's
be.
true.
I think
Yeah,
on
last year.
paper, they might be a much better side than St. Louis, definitely right now. But with our entire healthy team, I think we can give them a run for their money.
I'll run through some notable players on Chicago Fire because they do have some pretty good ones. Chris Brady showed out for the U.S. men's national team over the summer. I think that Andrew Gutman is probably one of the best outside backs in the MLS. He's
Very
very
good.
underrated as a defender. They do have Omar Gonzalez,
Yeah.
former U.S. men's national team regular. I don't know that he starts for them
No.
or if he has been playing for them. They do have Hugo Kuipers, who was in the Golden Boot race for some time this season. I think he's fraudulent, more fraudulent than Ty Baribo. Philip Zinkernagel has come into form since joining the league. He started off kind of slow in the first quarter of the season, but since scoring a banger against Nashville when they got toasted 7-1, he has looked much better. And I believe Tom Barlow's from St. Louis, so I want to show him some love too.
I think the most important thing here is that Chicago's defense is not the strongest. So although their offense has been reborn, they definitely still have a lot of questions at the back. And I think St. Louis can really cause some tension in that back line, especially if we're running out like Sangbin and Celio, or um, just the more dynamic our offense looks, I'd definitely be a little worried for any back line, let alone a back line that is struggling a little bit.
So I also have one more piece of logic on why I think that St. Louis City will win this game against Chicago, and it is because Chicago actually have Philadelphia Union after us. And in my mind, if I'm the Chicago Fire coach, which I would never, ever, ever want to be, I would rate the Philadelphia Union game as more important than the St. Louis City game. St. Louis City are 14th in the West right now. Philadelphia are a top 5 team in the East. And if you take points off a top team in the East, they inch closer to a playoff spot. So I wouldn't even be surprised if the squad is slightly rotated against St. Louis. And for that reason, I think with the chip on our shoulder, we'll have a better mentality going into this game than the Chicago Fire. I'm saying 3-2 St. Louis. I think it's going to be a booty hole clinching kind of victory for us, but I think we'll see it out.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick Celio Pompeu to score a goal this game and remind Critchley why he should be in the starting 11.
I like that. I am gonna go with a 2-1 St. Louis City win. And my goal scorer is going to be Edu Leuven
Ooh.
from a PK, because Chicago leads the league in one stat, and that is penalties conceded,
Okay.
with 8 penalties conceded this season. And I think they're going to add to that because St. Louis is going to be running at him. They're going to take down Sangbin or Celio in the box, and Leuven's going to be there to clean it up, get a goal for St. Louis City.
Our former Fire man is kind of quiet in this preview. Jacob, what are you thinking about over there?
I'm playing mental gymnastics right now. So maybe it's us, guys. Maybe it's our fault. Maybe every time we get on this podcast and the three of us predict a W, we don't get a W. The three of us predict a draw, we don't get a draw. The three of us predicted a loss against Nashville and we didn't lose.
That is true.
So I'm over here in the jungle gym right now, boys. Okay, I'm on the monkey bars hanging by my toes right now. I'm gonna sacrifice my position in our City Boys Awards presented by the City Boys position. I'm doing this for this team, okay? I'm doing this for the city. I'm predicting a St. Louis City loss this weekend. All right. Okay, I'm predicting a 3-2 loss to Chicago.
Okay.
Okay. You following? You following
I'm
along?
following. I'm following.
Sounds
All
good.
right. And I'm gonna ride my guy, Sangbin, to score.
Huh?
You
Pause.
said what you said, huh? You stood
I
on that.
welcome to the city, my man.
I told you my brain's doing gymnastics right now. All right.
Oh man.
Hey, I respect it. I respect it.
I'm
What a
taking this one for the
sacrifice.
team here,
The
okay?
ultimate sacrifice.
Top 10 respect moments. Top 10 City Boys respect moments.
Oh my god.
This is my Derek Jeter retirement year.
Not to mention Grayson stealing your goal scorer pick. I remember when Edu from a set piece was
That was a
essentially a
Jacob.
staple
It's a
of
Jacob thing.
the City Boys episodes.
Yeah, but then again, mental gymnastics. It never happened.
I don't think it ever did it?
It never happened. So,
You said something, Ben. Yeah, I was about to say.
my guy, I'm writing him.
Double down.
Oh, let's go, boys.
All right. Um, that's all I got. Uh, oh, there was one thing I wanted to mention because it is interesting. We don't have to mention it other than this, but Jordi Mihailovic moved to Toronto FC in the second biggest interleague trade in MLS history. So it's pretty crazy. So that team is going to be uh,
Marginally better.
fine. I think they drew their next game with Mihailovic. Very interesting from the Rapids
It was
mind,
so weird seeing him in a Toronto kit, especially this year when he's like kind of been Colorado's team.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely was carrying Colorado to the position that they're in. And so to see him now join the Toronto squad, I'm curious as to see what he can do for them. But I think that Toronto might just be too far gone this season. In a very similar position to St. Louis, by the way. That's, the pot calling the kettle black right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Jacob,
that's all I got.
take us out of here, boss.
Alrighty. This is going to be a real quick addition to the outro. We are running a Premier League, fantasy Premier League league coming up this Premier League season right now. Lots of spots open for the league. We got lots of spots open. So link to join it will be in the description. Grayson and I are in there. It's pretty obvious whose team is who. And then throughout the rest of the offseason and as far as the Premier League goes, we're going to be updating on that stuff as well. So if you want to join, link will be in the description. It's also posted variously throughout our socials, so make sure you go follow those as well. Also linked in the description. But if you've been listening / watching this long, make sure you like, subscribe, comment on the video, your goal scorer for next week. If you've been listening on Spotify, make sure you follow and rate 5 stars. But regardless of whatever we say on this silly little podcast that we've got.
Massive podcast.
Make sure you tell your mothers you love her. Peace. STL. STL. STL.